صلوا على محمد وآل محمد. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. اللهم إني أدعوك كما أمرتني فاستجب لي كما وعدتني إنك لا تخلف الميعاد. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. اللهم إني أسألك برحمتك التي وسعت كل شيء وبقوتك التي قهرت بها كل شيء وخضع لها كل شيء وذل لها كل شيء وبجبروتك التي غلبت بها كل شيء وبعزتك التي لا يقوم لها شيء وبعظمتك التي ملأت كل شيء وبسلطانك الذي على كل شيء وبوجهك الباقي بعد فناء كل شيء وبأسمائك التي ملأت أركان كل شيء وبعلمك الذي أحاط بكل شيء وبنور وجهك الذي أضاء له كل شيء. يا نور يا قدوس يا نور يا قدوس يا نور يا أول الأولين ويا آخر الآخرين. اللهم اغفر لي الذنوب التي تهتك العصام. اللهم اغفر لي الذنوب التي تنزل النقام. اللهم اغفر لي الذنوب التي تغير النعم. اللهم اغفر لي الذنوب التي تحبس الدعاء. اللهم اغفر لي الذنوب التي تنزل البلاء. اللهم اغفر لي كل ذنب أذنبته وكل خطيئة أخطأتها. اللهم إني أتقرب إليك بذكرك وأستشفع بك إلى نفسك وأسألك بجودك أن تدنيني من قربك وأن توزعني شكرك وأن تلهمني ذكرك. اللهم إني أسألك سؤال خاضع متذلل خاشع أن تسامحني وترحمني وتجعلني بقسمك راضيا قانعا وفي جميع الأحوال متواضعا. اللهم وأسألك سؤال من اشتدت فاقته وأنزل بك عند الشدائد حاجته وعظم فيما عندك رغبته. اللهم عظم سلطانك وعلى مكانك وخفي مكرك وظهر أمرك وغلب قهرك وجرت قدرتك، ولا يمكن الفرار من حكومتك. اللهم لا أجد لذنوبي غافرا ولا لقبائحي ساترا ولا لشيء من عملي القبيح بالحسن مبدلا غيرك. لا إله إلا أنت سبحانك وبحمدك ظلمت نفسي وتجرأت بجهلي وسكنت إلى قديم ذكرك لي ومنك علي. اللهم مولاي كم من قبيح سترته وكم من فادح من البلاء أقلته وكم من عثار وقيته وكم من مكروه دفعته وكم من ثناء جميل لست أهلا له نشرته. اللهم عظم بلائي وأفرط بي سوء حالي وقصرت بي أعمالي وقعدت بي أغلالي وحبسني عن نفعي بعد أملي وخدعتني الدنيا بغرورها ونفسي بخيانتها ومطالي يا سيدي، فأسألك بعزتك ألا يحجب عنك دعائي سوء عملي وفعالي، ولا تفضحني بخفي ما اطلعت عليه من سري، ولا تعاجلني بالعقوبة على ما عملته في خلواتي من سوء فعلي وإساءتي ودوام تفريطي وجهالتي وكثرة شهواتي وغفلتي. وكن اللهم بعزتك لي في الأحوال كلها رؤوفا وعلي في جميع الأمور عطوفا. إلهي وربي من لي غيرك أسأله كشف ضري والنظر في أمري. إلهي ومولاي أجريت علي حكما اتبعت فيه هوى نفسي ولم أحترس فيه من تزيين عدوي، فغرني بما أهوى وأسعده على ذلك القضاء، فتجاوزت بما جرى علي من ذلك بعض حدودك وخالفت بعض أوامرك، فلك الحجة علي في جميع ذلك، ولا حجة لي فيما جرى علي فيه قضاؤك وألزمني حكمك وبلاؤك. وقد أتيتك يا إلهي بعد تقصيري وإسرافي على نفسي معتذرا نادما منكسرا مستقيلا مستغفرا منيبا مقرا مذعنا معترفا، لا أجد مفرا مما كان مني ولا مفزعا أتوجه إليه في أمري غير قبولك عذري وإدخالك إياي في سعة من رحمتك. اللهم فاقبل عذري وارحم شدة ضري وفكني من شد وثاقه. يا رب ارحم ضعف بدني ورقة جلدي ودقة عظمي. يا من بدأ خلقي وذكري وتربيتي وبري وتغذيتي، هبني لابتداء كرمك وسالفي بالركاب. يا إلهي وسيدي وربي، أتراك معذبي بنارك بعد توحيدك، وبعد من طوى عليه قلبي من معرفتك، ولهج به لساني من ذكرك، واعتقده ضميري من حبك، وبعد صدق اعترافي ودعائي خاضعا لربوبيتك، هيهات أنت أكرم من أن تضيع من ربيته، أو تبعد من أدنيته، أو تشرد من آويته، أو تسلم إلى البلاء من كفيته ورحمته. وليت شعري يا سيدي وإلهي ومولاي، أتسلط النار على وجوه خرت لعظمتك ساجدا، وعلى ألسن نطقت بتوحيدك صادقا وبشكرك مادحا، وعلى قلوب اعترفت بإلهيتك محققا، وعلى ضمائر حوت من العلم بك حتى صارت خاشعة، وعلى جوارح سعت إلى أوطان تعبدك طائعة، وأشارت باستغفارك مذعنة. ما هكذا الظن بك، ولا أخبرنا بفضلك عنك يا كريم يا رب، وأنت تعلم ضعفي عن قليل من بلاء الدنيا وعقوباتها، وما يجري فيها من المكاره على أهلها، على أن ذلك بلاء ومكروه، قليل مكثوه، يسير بقاؤه، قصير مدته. فكيف احتمالي لبلاء الآخرة وجليل وقوع المكاره فيها، وهو بلاء تطول مدته ويدوم مقامه، ولا يخفف عن أهله، لأنه لا يكون إلا عن غضبك وانتقامك وسخطك، وهذا ما لا تقوم له السماوات والأرض يا سيدي. فكيف بي وأنا عبدك الضعيف الذليل الحقير المسكين المستكين؟ يا إلهي وربي وسيدي ومولاي، لأي الأمور إليك أشكو، ولما منها أضج وأبكي؟ لأليم العذاب وشدته، أم لطول البلاء ومدته؟ فلئن صيرتني للعقوبات مع أعدائك، وجمعت بيني وبين أهل بلائك، وفرقت بيني وبين أحبائك وأوليائك، فهبني يا إلهي وسيدي ومولاي وربي. صبرت على عذابك، فكيف أصبر على فراقك؟ وهبني صبرت على حر نارك، فكيف أصبر عن النظر إلى كرامتك؟ أم كيف أسكن في النار ورجائي عفوك؟ فبعزتك يا سيدي ومولاي أقسم صادقا لئن تركتني ناطقا لأضجن إليك بين أهلها ضجيج الآملين ولأصرخن إليك صراخ المستصرخين ولأبكين عليك بكاء الفاقدين ولأنادينك أين كنت يا ولي المؤمنين يا غاية آمال العارفين يا غياث المستغيثين يا حبيب قلوب الصادقين ويا إله العالمين أفتراك سبحانك يا إلهي وبحمدك تسمع فيها صوت عبد مسلم سجن فيها بمخالفته وذاق طعم عذابها بمعصيته وحبس بين أطباقها بجرمه وجريرته وهو يضج إليك ضجيج مؤمل لرحمتك ويناديك بلسان أهل توحيدك ويتوسل إليك بربوبيتك يا مولاي فكيف يبقى في العذاب وهو يرجو ما سلف من حلمه أم كيف تؤلمه النار وهو يأمل فضلك ورحمتك أم كيف يحرق لهيبها وأنت تسمع صوته وترى مكانه أم كيف يشتمل عليه زفيرها وأنت تعلم ضعفه أم كيف يتقلقل بين أطباقها وأنت تعلم صدقه أم كيف تزجره زبانيتها وهو يناديك يا رباه أم كيف يرجو فضلك في عتقه منها فتتركه فيها هيهات ما ذلك الظن بك ولا المعروف من فضلك ولا مشبه لما عاملت به الموحدين من برك وإحسانك فباليقين أقطع لولا ما حكمت به من تعذيب جاحديك وقضيت به من إخلاد معاندي لجعلت النار كلها بردا وسلاما وما كانت لأحد فيها مقرا ولا مقاما لكنك تقدست أسماؤك أقسمت أن تملأها من الكافرين من الجنة والناس أجمعين وأن تخلد فيها المعاندين وأن تجل ثناؤك قلت مبتدئا وتطولت بالإنعام متكرما أفمن كان مؤمنا كمن كان فاسقا لا يستوون إلهي وسيدي فأسألك بالقدرة التي قدرتها وبالقضية التي حتمتها وحكمتها وغلبت من عليه أجريتها أن تهب لي في هذه الليلة وفي هذه الساعة كل جرم أجرمته وكل ذنب أذنبته كل قبيح أسررت وكل جهل عملته، كتمته أو أعلنته، أخفيته أو أظهرته، وكل سيئة أمرت بإثباتها الكرام الكاتبين الذين وكلتهم بحفظ ما يكون مني، وجعلتهم شهودا علي مجمع جوارحي، وكنت أنت الرقيب علي من ورائهم والشاهد لما خفي عنهم، وبرحمتك أخفيته وبفضلك سترته، وأن توفر حظي من كل خير أنزلته أو إحسان فضلته أو بر نشرته أو رزق بسطته أو إحسان تفضله أو بر تنشره أو رزق تبسطه أو ذنب تغفره أو خطأ تستره. يا ربي يا ربي يا رب يا ربي يا ربي يا إلهي وسيدي ومولاي ومالك رقي، يا من بيده ناصيتي، يا عليما بضري ومسكنتي، يا خبيرا بفقري وفاقتي. يا ربي يا ربي يا رب يا ربي أسألك بحقك وقدسك وأعظم صفاتك وأسمائك أن تجعل أوقاتي من الليل والنهار بذكرك معمورا، وبخدمتك موصولا، وأعمالي عندك مقبولا، حتى تكون أعمالي وأورادي كلها وردا واحدا، وحالي في خدمتك سرمدا. يا سيدي يا من عليه معولي، يا من إليه شكوت أحوالي، يا ربي يا ربي يا ربي يا ربي قو على خدمتك جوارحي، واشدد على العزيمة جوانحي، وهب لي الجد في خشيتك والدوام في الاتصال بخدمتك، حتى أسرح إليك في ميادين السابقين، وأسرع إليك في المبادرين، وأشتاق إلى قربك في المشتاقين، وأدنو منك دنو المخلصين، وأخافك مخافة الموقنين، وأجتمع في جوارك مع المؤمنين. اللهم ومن أرادني بسوء فأرد، ومن كادني فكده، واجعلني من أحسن عبيدك نصيبا عندك، وأقربهم منزلة منك، وأخصهم زلفة لديك، فإنه لا ينال ذلك إلا بفضلك. وجد لي بجودك، واعطف علي بمجدك، واحفظني برحمتك، واجعل لساني بذكرك لهجا، وقلبي بحبك متيما، ومن علي بحسن إجابتك، وأقلني عثرتي واغفر زلتي، فإنك قضيت على عبادك بعبادتك وأمرتهم بدعائك وضمنت لهم الإجابة. فإليك يا ربي نصبت وجهي، وإليك يا ربي مددت يدي، فبعزتك استجب لي دعائي وبلغني مناي، ولا تقطع من فضلك رجائي، واكفني شر الجن والإنس من أعدائي. يا سريع الرضا، يا سريع الرضا، يا سريع الرضا، اغفر لمن لا يملك إلا الدعاء، فإنك فعال لما تشاء. يا من اسمه دواء وذكره شفاء وطاعته غنى، ارحم من رأس ماله الرجاء وسلاحه البكاء. يا سابغ النعم، يا دافع النقام، يا نور المستوحشين في الظلام، يا عالما لا يعلم، صل على محمد وآل محمد وافعل بي ما أنت أهله. وصلى الله على رسوله والأئمة الميامين من آله وسلم تسليما كثيرا. رحم الله من قرأ الفاتحة مع الصلاة على محمد وآل محمد.
Inshallah, we'll be starting with a couple recitations of the Holy Quran. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. والتين والزيتون وطور سينين وهذا البلد الأمين لقد خلقنا الإنسان في أحسن تقويم ثم رددناه أسفل سافلين إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات فلهم أجر غير ممنون فما يكذبك بعد بالدين أليس الله بأحكم الحاكمين صدق الله العلي العظيم.
MashaAllah. We have a second recitation of Surah Al-Asr. Please welcome her with a loud salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والعصر إن الإنسان لفي خسر إن الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر صدق الله العلي العظيم.
Please recite a loud salawat for both of them. At the end, right? Okay, perfect. MashaAllah, I would love to see the participation from our younger community members. I have a couple of quick announcements, and inshallah, we will move into what you are all waiting for is the speech by Sayyid Abbas, inshallah. The one is, inshallah, we have our unity picnic. We have a picnic with 5 other centers this Sunday. So make sure you register RSVP for that, and we look forward to seeing all of you there, inshallah. That begins at noon, and it's at Frank Bonelli Park in San Dimas, inshallah. The other announcement I have is that we have a Monday night program. As you know, Tuesday is the 15th of Shaban, so the amal that are recommended for the 15th of Shaban are the night before. So we will be having those here starting at 7:30 p.m. with Isha prayers, inshallah. So we hope to see you all here for the amal on Monday night as well. And as usual, we will be having our Thursday night program next week. Tonight, Sayyid Abbas's speech is titled How to Have an Easy Death. If you guys can all please help me welcome him with a loud salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين سيدنا ومولانا أبي القاسم المصطفى محمد اللهم صل على محمد وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين ولعنة الله على أعدائهم إلى قيام يوم الدين. May the blessed days of Sha'ban be Mubarak for you. Before we begin, I'd like to give an Islamic ruling. Many people have asked me because Shahr Ramadan is coming very close in about maybe a little bit more than 2 weeks. And some here, I don't know anyone here, has Qadha fast from last year. If anyone has Qadha fast from last year, there's 2 issues. Maybe one issue was not said, exactly how it should have. So the first issue is this, is first of all, do we have to make up the fast from last year until this year? Do we have to do this? One issue is, does it have kafara? Does it have fidya? Kafara ta'khir. Does it have a delay kafara, which is a payment that we give because we delayed? That's something else. Giving kafara is something else. But the hook, which is taklifi here, which means that do I have to fast? And will it be haram if I don't fast? These are two different issues. Okay. So one, as a matter of ihtiyat, if a person does not fast, yes, and they could have, and they should have, yes, they pay that 750 grams kafara ta'khir, which some institutes, they charge about $5 each day to take care of it, $5 a day. But now is this, do I have to make it up? There is ikhtilaf. The mashhur, the common opinion is that yes, you have to make it up. It's haram if you don't. The opinion of Ayatollah Sistani that I looked up, it is better, it is ihtiyat to do this. It's better to do this. Ihtiyat mustahab. You don't have to make up your fast. So this is good news for those that want to pay the $5 each day, or $10, $15 if they have 3 days, for example. You don't have to make up your fast if you follow Ayatollah Sistani. But the common opinion is that yes, you do have to make up your fast before Shahr Ramadan. In general, yes, we have to make up the fast in general. I'm not saying that. We have to make up all our fasts. But when do you have to make it up? Do you have 1 year to do it? You don't have to do it in the first year, according to Ayatollah Sistani, but you would if you don't do it, you'd have to pay the how much they calculate is $5 or 750 grams of food items. Is this a little still unclear? You still have to make it up, of course. We have to make it up, and that's what I was trying to say, is we have to make it up for sure, but when do we have to? Does it have to be done in the first year? It doesn't have to be done in the first year. It could be done in the second year, third year, fourth year. But if it's not done in the first year, there's kafara ta'khir. But the mashhur and common opinion is that it should be made up. So if those that follow other maraja, look at their maraja taqlid, those that follow Sistani, if it's hard for them right now and they're running out of time, don't stress out. The Sayyid has given you more time. It's like an exam or something that you have a final or something. He's alhamdulillah giving you more time. And you could do it, but you just have to pay kafara ta'khir. So you don't have to stress out about it if you're not feeling well, or you're putting too much stress on your body, for example. Please recite salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad wa ajal faraj. Muhammad wa ajal faraj. We're talking about the very important topic of death, and hopefully in Shahr Ramadan we'll continue this. We said that why are we afraid of death? Because death is something that happens for everyone. One is that we have ignorance of death. We're ignorant of death. We don't know what it is. And we don't realize that what we are is our soul. Our body is just something that is temporary here. It will be gathered together. In the day of judgment, we will have the body. But our true life is the soul. So because we don't understand it, God forbid, we think that death is equal to annihilation. So therefore we're afraid of it. But if you view death as the beginning of your true life, and how Imam Ali alayhi salam says in narration, that you've been created for the akhirat, not for this dunya. You see that this is the start of my life, and you're very happy for it. So we're going to get into some of the topics about death, especially this topic. We're going to get into the exact moment of death and how can we have an easy death. The sakarat al-maut, for example, the intoxication of death or the pangs of death or the torture or torment of death. That we're going to talk about. The second is attachment to the world. If you are not attached to this world, you will not be afraid of death. A person that is attached and all they have worked for is for this world, they are going to be afraid of leaving this world, a place where they have built, to go to a place that they have not built, that has actually they have abandoned. It's like, imagine you have two homes. One, you renovated, you spend so much time, even though it doesn't make sense. Some people say it's like the silliness of what we're doing is as if you go to a hotel and you start to renovate it and you start to work so much to make this hotel look great and pay for it, and it's great. Okay, you made this room that you have so great, but at the end of the day, you have to check out. You have to leave. You have to leave at the end. It's not yours. But that wise person is the one that builds that home that they have forever. So therefore, if somebody has a house in this world that has been built and has not built the other world, they're going to be afraid to move from a place that has been developed for a place that has not been developed. So then, therefore, that person is attached to this world and they're afraid of death. The third is sin and oppression. If God forbid someone does sin and oppression, hurts others, harms others, and many of the tyrants in this world, they're afraid of death. They're always afraid of what will reach them. They don't have one moment of peace in this world. And the same for the sinner. They're wondering, what will happen to me in the next life? So if a person has knowledge of death, if a person has attachment to the hereafter, and a person did not oppress others, harm others, did not commit sin in this world, they should actually anticipate and love death. Because why? Why do we love death? Because it is liqa'ullah, it is the meeting of Allah. How is the meeting of God? Because the barriers are removed. And you will see God with the heart very sharply, as Quran says. Hadith, the Quran mentions. He'll not steal, but sharply. You'll see Him sharply. You'll see the realities sharply. So therefore, that was one discussion we had about why we're afraid of death. Then we talked about what are the 5 things that we see during death. When death comes to us, we see 5 things. Hopefully you're remembering this. I'm just saying it. You see your place in barzakh. Number 1, first thing, you'll see right when death is approaching you, you'll see your report card. You say, oh, I'm going this way or I'm going this way. Right? You find the answer. If somebody wants to know what happened, to them, where are they going to go to? Death. Right when death happens, they know if they're a person of the hellfire or if a person of heaven. 2, they see the angels of death. They see Raqib, Anid, those angels that were writing and recording. And if they did good deeds, those du'as, those angels that were recording, Kiramul Katibin, they will make dua for him. But if they had bad actions, they would do lan of them. 3, we see the infallibles. We'll mention this tonight. We see the Prophet and his noble family. 4th, the shayateen will come during our death and they'll try to take away our iman, snatch away our iman at the very last moment. 5th, we'll see the manifestations of money and children and action. But tonight's topic is this. What does exactly this sakarat al-maut, what is it? We see that there's, our understanding in religious texts that death shakes people up. Death is in one way, if you want to understand more, look at one of the sermons in Nahj al-Balagha 109. Read 109, I'll read part of it for you. How Imam Ali alayhi salam describes that moment that death is approaching. So that moment is like this. فَغَيْرَ مَوْصُوفٍ مَا نَزَلَ بِهِمْ اجْتَمَعَتْ عَلَيْهِمْ سَكَرَاتُ الْمَوْتِ وَحَسْرَةُ الْفَوْتِ. So the pangs of death and grief from losing this world have surrounded them. Consequently, their limbs become relaxed, their limbs don't work anymore, and their complexion changes. Then death increases its struggle over them. So the limbs stop working. Imam Ali alayhi salam says, Nahj al-Balagha, Sakaratul Maut happens, and in someone, it stands in between them and his power of speaking. Although he lies amongst the people, he's amongst the people, but he cannot talk anymore. He cannot say anything anymore. I'll mention this tonight also. that one of the important things that is makruh, discouraged, if you have a loved one, if you have someone that you know, a believer that is passing away, that you do not leave them alone. You're there with them. Very important. So then you see his power of speaking, although he lies amongst the people. He looks at them. He hears with his ears. His full wits, his intelligence, but it doesn't work. He then thinks over him how he wasted his life and that what activities had passed as his time. Then he starts thinking when death is happening and his soul is leaving his body. He's asking, how did I waste my time? How did I spend my time? Allah gave me 70 years of life, 80 years of life, 50 years of life. And I start thinking and contemplating as my limbs become weak and I cannot move anymore. I start thinking, how did I waste my time? Then he thinks over how he wasted his life. He recalls the wealth he collected when he had blinded himself in seeking it and acquired it from fair and foul sources. Now, he looks at the money that he has and he sees from what sources did he collect this money, and he spent his life in that. Now the consequences of collecting it have overtaken him. He gets ready to leave it. It would remain for those who are behind him. Now he thinks about that money, all that work that he did in this world. Brothers and sisters, working in this world as a node is not something that is bad. Working hard, going to work on time, struggling, and trying to provide for your family, that is something good, that is akhirah. As long as the intention is to seek this for God. It is much better. It is actually, dunya is much more, I said before. If somebody is in their couch and sleeping and sleeps in all the time, that is more dunya than a person that shows up at work on time early in the morning. As long as their intention is for God each time. And they continue that, in that they actually feel closer to God. How do you know if that work is good or not? How do you know if that work is ibadat or not? When it comes salat time, you feel ready to do salat. You feel charged. You see, that work was a muqaddama, that work was a premise for prayer. But if that work is taking you away from dhikrullah, remembrance of God, and you don't feel like praying, and you don't want to do any active worship, then that work is not work that is bringing you closer to Him. So that is a side note that we have. So therefore, Imam Ali alayhi salam mentions that is how that person that is thinking of how he spent his life, his limbs become weak. But our scholars say, this khutbah 109 is for those that have done bad, those that have wasted their time. How is the death of the believer? How is the death of that person that has high iman and his life was spent in the remembrance of God? When you look at the tradition, it mentions this about that person. Let's recite salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Allahumma salla ala Muhammad wa ali. Very beautifully, Imam Sadiq alayhi salam, lil mu'min, death ka'atyab ar-rih. It is one of the most pleasant smelling fragrances. It is something that they smell. وَيَشْمُهُ وَيَشَمُّهُ فَيَنْعُسُ يَنْعُسُ لِطِيبِهِ. Then he sneezes, he breathes, smells it, and he sneezes. That is death for them. It's like someone that sneezes. And what happens? وَيَنْقَطِعُ التَّعَبُ. And every discomfort and hardship that they had in this world becomes disconnected with them, separated from them. They smell a fragrance and then it's gone. All that hardship in this world, all that suffering that they had, all that hard work that they're going, it's all gone. This is for the mu'min, for the believer. Mu'min here, usually in the traditions we have those that follow Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam. And also when you say mu'min, is a complete mu'min, a true mu'min. Someone that truly their actions equals their beliefs. That is a true mu'min. Many of us say we're muhib of Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam. We love them. A true mu'min, a true believer, is one that really believes in the hereafter. So therefore his actions were entirely for the hereafter. A true mu'min is someone that really believed in the rububiyyat of God and believed that God is commanding him and is governing the entire creation, and believes that every second he is in the presence of God. That type of believer, for him that was with God, had ma'iyat with God, lived with God, always thought of the hereafter, always thought of death, is connected to the Prophet and Imams. His beliefs causes his actions to always be good. That person, they will smell, death will be like a smell, and then that all the pains that they have will be removed from them. وَالْأَلَمْ كُلُّهُ عَنْهُ. So you see two descriptions of death. If you read the traditions about death, you have to know that which one applies to who. So there's death of the believer, and there's death of the fasiq, there's death of the kafir. There's different types of death. But for the complete person, death is like a nice smelling fragrance. So what can we do to have such a death? What can we do so that we're always afraid of death, the sakarat al-maut, the intoxication of death? What can we do in order to have a pleasant death, a good death? The first thing that I just mentioned is in this hadith, is to have iman. It is our beliefs. When a person has true faith, for example, I believe right now that this microphone, for example, is hot. It's completely, it would be like 200 degrees, 300 degrees. It would be very hot, this stand for this microphone. If I really believe this is red and I see it, would I touch this and grab this and burn my hand? No, I'd never ever do that. I must be crazy, right? So I'm careful of this. A true believer means someone that really believes in what the 124,000 prophets came to tell us and the imams came to solidify for us. That means that person cannot do sin. True iman means that my belief is so strong, just like this stand for this microphone, that I would never touch it. If I touch it, it means that I truly didn't believe in the message. If God forbid, if I sin all the time, someone like me, if I am weak in my action, it stems from my weakness in faith. Weak iman and action are together. When you believe strongly, you will have good action. When you provide good action, it will cause your iman to go higher. And then again, you have a higher iman, it will call for more action, and then those tests that you have, you complete them, and then you have a higher level of iman, and then again, more action, and that will cause a higher level of iman. It's like a zigzag effect. So having true iman is salvation for us. Look at the death of Prophet Ibrahim. I said this before, I'll say it again. When Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam, he's a prophet, he didn't do anything bad. He was sinless. So why would he have a bad death? Why would he have a difficult death? The angel of death approaches him and he asks, Ya malak al-maut, ada'in am na'i? Are you going to take me, invite me? Or are you going to, take me, for example? So in this tradition, let's recite salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Basically, are you coming here to take me, or can I come with my own ikhtiyar of myself? Can I come here myself, or I'm forced to come? And then the tradition, it mentions to him that no, that you are basically the Khalil of God, that you have the ability to come and have death. And Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam, there he gives a joke. He says, then if we are friends, then why are you going to take the soul of one of your friends? So therefore, even Prophet Ibrahim jokes with the angel of death. And then a call says to him, هل رأيت حبيبا يكره لقاء حبيبه? Do you ever see someone that has a Habib and doesn't want to meet his Habib, his lover? So Allah sends that message to Ibrahim, and it is a message of love, like come and see me, come and meet me, and that is your death. So it's nothing that torment, torture, scaring Prophet Ibrahim in a very pleasant way that Prophet Ibrahim has death. So therefore you see that this is the life of some of the prophets, that they had a very easy death. When you look at the second part, what else can make? So the first thing is having iman, and that iman that causes good action. The second thing is having wilayat and love of Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam. We said in volume 6 of Bihar al-Anwar, many traditions talk about the first thing that we see when we are dying is the Holy Prophet and Imam Ali alayhi salam. And they come to help us. They come to save us. And some of the other traditions say all the infallibles for the mu'min come. All of them come for them. And when you see the imam, it doesn't mean that they're coming there just to see them. Because nobody dares punish you or hurt you or harm you or threaten you when Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam, Ali is there. And he comes in the tradition it says, Ana Ali ibn Abi Talib alladhi kunta tuhib. I am that Ali alayhi salam that you used to love. That's that Ali alayhi salam. You spent so much work in the centers, you worked for him. You spread his message in the country that you lived in. You helped others. You educated your children about Imam Ali. So I'm the same Ali ibn Abi Talib that you used to love. And therefore, you see, all the threats and pains and punishments of Sakarat al-Maut will be gone when Ali alayhi salam is present. So wilayat of Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam is another key component for us having an easy death. The tradition has this. The tradition mentions that is the way that Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam will treat them. Man ahabba aliyan hawwana Allah alayhi sakarat al-maut. Very clear narration in Bihar al-Anwar. Whoever loves Ali, Allah will make for him easy the pains of death. Whoever loves Ali alayhi salam. This is good news. Once the Prophet of Islam, and to talk a little bit more about the love of Ali alayhi salam and our death. Once Salman, I don't know if you've heard this story or not, the Prophet asked a question to his companions and mentions to them, who has fasted their entire life? Who has worshipped God all the nights? And who has every day recited the Quran? That's a lot of action. Every day to fast, every day to not sleep and to worship God, and every day to recite the Holy Quran. Salman says, me. I've done this. And he says this, he says, how? And he explains. He says, I fast 3 days a month. 3 days a month is very recommended to fast. The first Thursday, the last Thursday, the first Wednesday after the 10 days. In the Rasav Ayatul Sistani, it says if a person doesn't do this fast to give charity because of this, it's so important. 3 days in every month. So he says, Man ja'a bil hasana falahu ashra amthaliha. Whoever does one hasana, he gets 3. If he gets 10. So because I fast 3 days in the month, it's equal to fasting 30 days in the month. Salman answers. So this is one way that Salman uses his knowledge to show the worship of God. Then he says, I worship God every night because the tradition has that Rasulullah, you mentioned, whoever sleeps with wudu, with ablution, has worshipped God the entire night. I have slept with wudu. Very easy. Shortcuts, mashallah, from Salman that we have. He was also very smart. So he also, at the same time, worships Allah. And this is the part that I want to talk about. This is the example that I give about wilayat. Then he says that, and I recite the entire Quran every day because I recite Qul huwallahu ahad. And what is Qul huwallahu ahad? The reward of it? 1/3 of the Quran. So if we read it 3 times, it's as if you read the entire Quran. But he says this because the Prophet said to Ali alayhi salam, "Oh Ali, Your example, you are the example of Qul Huwallahu Ahad. You are the example of Qul Huwallahu Ahad. So whoever reads it once has 1/3 of the Quran. Whoever recites it twice has 2/3. Whoever recites it 3 times recites the entire Quran. And you said to Imam Ali alayhi salam in the same manner that whoever loves Ali in the heart, he has 1/3 of Iman. Whoever loves Imam Ali in the heart, 1/3 of his Iman is complete. Whoever loves Imam Ali with his heart and his tongue, he mentions, he talks about the fada'il of Imam Ali. He says, I love Imam Ali. He helps Imam Ali with his tongue. He has 2/3 of Iman. And whoever helps Ali ibn Abi Talib with his heart, his tongue, and his action, he does things for Imam Ali. He helps the cause of Imam Ali with his action, then he will have true faith. This recites salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Because the tradition has وَالَّذِي بَعَثَنِي بِالْحَقِّ يَا عَلِي لَوْ أَحَبَّكَ أَهْلُ الْأَرْضِ كَمَحَبَّةِ أَهْلِ السَّمَاءِ لَكَ لَمَّا عُذِبَ أَحَدٌ بِالنَّارِ. Because if the people in this world loved you like the people in the heaven, nobody would be punished in hellfire. So that is the completion of faith through Ali alayhi salam. Brothers and sisters, we have a important 15th of Sha'ban in front of us, who is a descendant, the 12th Imam. Imam Ali alayhi salam, children, is our first Imam. Imam Mahdi is our 12th Imam. If you help Imam Mahdi and you cause others to remember Imam Mahdi, you're helping Ali ibn Abi Talib. Don't you want your Iman to become complete? Don't you want to help Imam Ali, love him, help him with your tongue and help him with your action? Participating, for example, in the picnic that we have, participating in the 15th of Sha'ban that we have, these actions or whatever actions you can think of that help support and strengthen the followers of Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam in the city that we live in are very important for us. People need to see numbers and children and people growing up. Sometimes they're in public school and they don't see anyone else that's a follower of Ahlul Bayt. They don't see another Shia. They think we're an endangered species. They don't think, for example, that we're large in number. They don't know how many hundreds of Muslims are, for example, are Shia. How many true followers of Islam are Shia. So therefore, when they go to such picnic and you take your children there, they see the large amount. And I've heard so far, alhamdulillah, about 600 people have already registered. If you have not registered, please make sure that you register. So this will be very important for your children that they see the large amount. And this is just a few centers. We have, over 30 centers, around 30 centers, Shia centers in Los Angeles area. When you take the time and you make that intention that you want to spread the message of Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam, you want to spread the love of Ali alayhi salam, this is helping Ali alayhi salam with your action. Let's recite salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. So therefore, the first 2 things, I want you tonight when you go, remember these 2. What can I do to have an easy death? 1, Iman, faith that comes with it, good action. 2, Walayat, love of the Prophet and his noble family. Third thing that we have in tradition is connection to the family and respect of the parents. We have in tradition. And this is especially for the children that are here, and the parents will be very happy when I speak about this right now, that you mention that how important it is to respect the family and be able to respect the parents. Man ahabba, in tradition from Imam Sadiq, man ahabba an yukhaffif Allahu anhu sakarat al-maut. Whoever wants the sakarat al-maut to be easy for him, فَلْيَكُنْ بِقِرَابَتِهِ وُصُولًا. Be connected to your family members. Sometimes they might harm you. Sometimes they might say something to you. But you forgive them. Why? Because it's Salatul Rahim. They're family members. You cannot be separate from them. It doesn't mean you have to call them all the time or connect with them all the time. It means the most important, the minimum stage, is that you're not in a way that you're not in talking terms with them. You're in a way that I have nothing to do with this family member. And then it says in the same tradition, وَبِوَالِدَيْهِ بَارًّا. But for parents, bar, do good to them. Do good to them. Each person here, they have a responsibility to their parents. Some, their parents have passed away. We have a responsibility while they're in their graves to make dua for them, recite Quran for them. Many times we recite Quran dua, we don't make it for the intention of our marhumin. Maybe if our parents are still alive, our grandparents, our great-grandparents, to do good for them. If you do sadaqah, do it in their behalf. Any good action, even you can make your intention, say it's a majlis of knowledge, not because of me, because of the traditions. I'm sitting here, give the reward to my parents, inshallah. So that we have a duty if they have been passed away. We have a duty while they are alive. And each duty is different. When they're at a younger age, it's different. When they're at an older age, it's different. Maybe they might need financial support. It is wajib. Not only is it wajib for the parents to give nafaqah to their children and to support their children, it goes the opposite way too. It's wajib for children to support their parents if they're in need in the same way. It's wajib. So you do good to them. You visit them. فإذا كان كذلك حون الله عليه سكرات الموت. Some of the traditions have very high levels of reward. For example, seeing the father. And the tradition says each time looking at the face of your father is equal to Hajj or Umrah. And they ask if I watch multiple times pleasantly at the face of my father, for example, each time is a Hajj or Umrah? Yes, each time is a Hajj or Umrah. So this is the third thing that will give us an easy death, is how we were with our parents, and it's never too late. If we are at bad terms, make it good, inshallah. I'm going to give you a story. The Prophet had a companion, and this is in the book of Manazil al-Akhir of Sheikh Abbas al-Qumi, which is a tradition in Al-Kafi. The Prophet had a companion, and that companion was dying, and Rasulullah comes. Rasulullah comes to that person while he's dying. And he tells him, say La ilaha illallah. This is again something else that is recommended, to do talqeen to that person that is dying. Keep telling them La ilaha illallah, Muhammadan Rasulullah, Aliyan waliyullah. Keep doing talqeen, because the shayateen are coming to change their minds. So he says, say La ilaha illallah, say La ilaha illallah. He can't. He cannot say La ilaha illallah in the tradition, in the story. Then he asks about his parents. He says, does this young person have a mother? And then they said, yes. And the mother comes there in front. The mother was there. And says, are you upset with him? Because I tell him, say La ilaha illallah. He does not say La ilaha illallah. He says, 6 years I have not spoken to him. 6 years I have not spoken to this young person. It's bothered his parents so much. So then he asked the Prophet, says, say this, Radiyallahu an, Ya Rasulullah biradak an. I am happy with him because of the happiness that you have. So then he says to him to do that dhikr, La ilaha illallah, and there he mentions it. And then it mentions here in this the story that we have, it says, tell him La ilaha illallah, and he begins to say it. But then he asks him, what do you see? He said, La ilaha illallah. He's starting to speak. And he talks about very dangerous beings that have a disgusting, repelling smell. I see them. Obviously beings that are going to be punishing him. So then the Prophet tells him to do this dua. Ya man yaqbalu al-yasir wa ya'fu an kathir. Aqbal minni al-yasir wa'fu anni al-kathir innaka anta al-ghafur al-rahim. Asks him, oh, the being, God, that accepts small, accepts those things that are light from those things that are a lot. Accept from me this yasir, this small action, wa ya'fu an kathir, and forgive the many of actions that I've done, because you are Al-Ghafur Ar-Rahim. You are the forgiving and you are the merciful. And then he says this and tells them to keep saying this. Now what do you see? Then he starts seeing beings that are handsome, beautiful beings. And they are pleasantly have a nice fragrance to themselves. So therefore you see in this, and then Sheikh Abbas Qumi gives the commentary that look, this was a companion of Rasulullah. A companion of Rasulullah. That because of his misconduct to his mother for 6 years, even Rasulullah tells him, say La ilaha illallah, he does not, until the mother forgives. So the third thing is what? Family and parents. The last things that I'll mention are certain du'as that we have and different actions that we have. Some of them being this, for example, if you want an easy death, one is reciting قُلْ هُوَ اللَّهُ أَحَدٌ فَمَنْ تَعَاهَدَ قِرَاءَتَهَا بَعْدَ كُلِّ صَلَاةٍ وَلَا يَذُوقُ سَكَرَاتَ الْمَوْتِ. So that person will not have taste the sakarat al-maut. A person that after salat does Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, قُلْ هُوَ اللَّهُ أَحَدٌ اللَّهُ الصَّمَدُ لَمْ يَلِدْ وَلَمْ يُولَدْ وَلَمْ يَكُنْ لَهُ كُفُوًا أَحَدٌ. One of the actions that just passed is fasting in the month of Rajab. It just passed. Inshallah, you did fast in the month of Rajab. That makes your Sakarat al-Maut easy, inshallah. And the last thing is, what can we do for those that are passing away? We're running out of time. Inshallah, later on we'll talk about that. But of course, one of the wajib thing is, if for someone that is passing away, it is wajib to put their feet towards Qibla. It's important for you not to leave them alone. It is important not to cry in front of them, not to scream in front of them. It is makruh. And another thing is, if you can't put them in that place where they were praying, salat is so important that place of prayer is somewhere good for that person to give his life. And may Allah give all of us, inshallah, a long and lengthy life, inshallah, طول العمر, inshallah, a life that is full of barakat, and take us away from sakaratul maut, the pains of death, inshallah, the intoxication of death, and make our death, inshallah, very easy for us, just like smelling a fragrance and then being disconnected from all the pains of this world. May Allah give us shafa'at of Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam. May Allah make us of those that truly love and have faith in the message of Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam. May Allah forgive those of our family members and friends that have passed away, inshallah, and give them the reward of this majlis, inshallah, this gathering. May Allah cure all the sick. May Allah help all those that are poor, all those that are in grievance right now. Give them faraj, inshallah, give them relief. Ya Allah, we ask you, it is the 15th of Sha'ban is coming close, the waladat of Imam al-Zaman. Expedite his return, inshallah. Allow us to see the holy son, which is Imam Zaman, the dua. Make his appearance easy, inshallah. And through him, give life again to humanity and build human life again through Imam Zaman, inshallah. Make us of his loyal companions with a salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad wa ajjan farajah. Afwan, thank you. Do we have any questions from I'll start with the sister side first. From the sister side, do we have any questions about tonight's discussion? From the brother side, do you have any questions? Everyone's afraid. This is when everyone becomes very quiet. When you ask them, do you have any questions? I think they know, you guys know everything, inshallah, so much. Inshallah, I'll be here if you have any questions or anything else. I'm at your service. Let's recite a salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
صلوا على محمد وآل محمد. اللهم كن لي وليك الحجة ابن الحسن صلواتك عليه وعلى آبائه في هذه الساعة وفي كل ساعة وليا وحافظا وقائدا وناصرا ودليلا وعينا حتى تسكنه بأرضك طوعا وتمتعه فيها طويلة برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين.
Thank you for the beautiful recitation. Just want to remind everybody of the two announcements. Inshallah, on Sunday there's going to be a unity picnic. It's in the Yasin email, so please register if you plan to attend. It starts at 12 p.m. inshallah. And on Monday night there's going to be a 15th of Shaban program starting at 7:30 here at Yasin inshallah.